Good afternoon, class. All right, be quiet. I gotta do this, right?
No.
Graph linear inequalities and two variables, 5.61. All right.
Thanks, Will, for
No problem.
I think it's funny how.
All right, so guys, what's good? I'm looking at a word in the title of this lesson, something that we haven't talked about in a little while.
Two variables.
Inequalities, right? So, sometimes by raising their hand, what makes an inequality different from an equation? Josiah?
The alligator.
Yeah, the little signs, right? The inequality signs, right? Alligator hands, Pac-Man, whatever you want to call them, right? So that's what makes it different. We haven't talked about these in a while. So we're still doing systems, but it's going to be inequalities now instead of equations, all right? Just to review. Someone talking about raising their hand. I might call on somebody. Mr. Fairbanks, when I have this sign right here, what does that mean? Greater than. Yeah. You got it right. Greater than. Good. Next. On. Let's try to come all the way. Ginny, what does this mean?
Less than or equal to.
Perfect. Less than or equal to. Let's look at the next one.
Oh.
How about that one?
Less than.
Paige?
Less than.
Yep, just straight up less than. And last one? X?
Greater than or equal to.
Greater than or equal to. So what have we determined here? What do we figure out?
What does sign mean?
The signs, right? So can someone summarize it for me?
Less than
What do you
or
mean
equal
from?
to.
Okay.
These are the
Basically, there's a line underneath. If there's a line underneath, all right, that's gonna mean or equal. You would add or equal to. No line underneath. It's just basic less than or greater than. All right. We just haven't talked about those signs in a while, guys. So I just wanted to introduce them again, so we know. All right. Good.
Yeah.
So, guys, again, this stuff is just kind of review. We're just kind of gonna go over what we're talking about today a little bit. So don't worry about writing it down.
For number one?
No, you don't have to write this down yet.
Oh.
No. So, guys, a linear inequality. We've done linear equations. All right. We're taking an equation like an equation like this: x minus 3y equals 6, and replacing the equal sign with one of the inequality signs that we just talked about. So we're doing the same. We're doing same thing, just with equal sign. All right. And today we're only gonna have one equation. Now, like the stuff we did yesterday, we had two equations. We were doing systems. We won't have two equations today. Two inequalities. We'll only have one. All right. All right. So a solution of an inequality in two variables, all right, x and y, is any ordered pair that, when plugged into the inequality, produces a true statement. So you plug. That's why we went over what all those signs meant. Greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, and equal to. We went over those so we could figure out, right, what each thing means. So when we have to see if it's a true statement or not, all right, you'll know what the sign means. All right. So again, you don't have to worry about writing this stuff down. Again, only doing one inequality today, not two. But we're gonna have to do some graphing. That's why you guys did a little bit of graphing in the warm-up. Right. So we did a little bit of that yesterday as well. All right. So it's a little bit different than the stuff we did yesterday. Stuff with systems. A little bit different. All right. So first thing we'll take a look at. So this is example one. Guys, this is going to be on the back of your notes. It'll be in that first box. So you have written on there, when I underline, you have that written on your notes, right? Which ordered pair is not a solution of, all right? I want you to write in the inequality. Then as try to, as far to the left as you can, write your choices, but leave a little space.
Oh my god.
That way, I want you to write them as far to the left as you can, so we have some space on the right, so we can write it, so we can write in our, write the work in there.
What is D?
Wait, hold on.
I'm sorry, let me scroll down. Thanks. -1,
Do you want
comma
us
2.
to letter them?
Yeah, letter them too. Yeah, like I said, write your choices as far to the left as you can, so on the right-hand side we'll have some room so we can do our work. All right? So guys, when we're doing something like this, when I ask us if it's a solution or not, it doesn't matter how your inequality is set up. Doesn't matter where the x is, doesn't matter where the y is, none of that matters. All right? So, how am I gonna figure out, obviously, I'm gonna have to do some work here, but how am I gonna figure out which one is not a solution?
We're doing it out.
Okay, what do you mean by doing it up? What does that mean, Savannah?
You're plugging in each one into.
Okay, so for the first one, can you tell me what I would plug in for what?
I think it's like first one is like X. And
Exactly. All right, here's my x, here's my y. So if I was going to set this up, Savannah, how would I do it?
it would be 0 minus 3 brackets 0 less than or greater to 6.
Less than or equal to 6. And I'm just going to do the math, right? 0. If I do this, if I do my multiplication, I'm just going to get 0. Anything times 0 is 0, minus 0. When I get that, what am I going to get? Just a 0.
Less than or greater to 6.
Okay, so let's ask ourselves, is that a true statement? Is 0 less than or equal to 6?
Yeah, it's not equal
Yes.
to though.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but
matter, it's one or the other.
It's either or.
Either or, yes, you're right, Savannah. So this one, that one works. Next one, hey Jack, can you tell me what to write for the next one?
6 minus 1.
6 minus,
1.
not yet, you missed something.
Negative.
Is that 6 minus,
Negative 1.
not yet. Negative 1 will go there, where the y is, but we're missing something in between that minus and the negative 1 we plugged in for y.
X.
Yeah, x is 6, we plugged that in. Minus, that was part of the problem, we put a minus. We plugged in negative 1 for y, we're missing something here. It's going to go there.
Y.
Already plugged in for y, negative 1. What number is in between the negative and the y? 3. Remember, we're not changing this whole thing, we're only changing the y. The 3 will stay, it's part of the original inequality. We keep that, and then we'll plug in negative 1 for y. And the rest of the problem, just do well. All right? I'm going to do this first. I'm going to get positive 3. I know there's a negative there, but you've got to make sure, you need to know a negative times a negative is a positive. That's what makes this positive 3. 6. 6 plus 3?
9.
9. Let's see.
No.
Z, what does that say? 9 is what? 9 is less than or equal to 6. Is that a true statement?
No.
9 less than or equal to 6. And wants to know which one's not a solution, correct?
Yes, so it's B.
You lucked out on this one. Once you find the one that's not a solution, stop. You don't have to do the
How
others.
if you made a math error?
Huh? You may make an act, hopefully you don't. All right. So if, like I said, if you may luck out, the first one may not be a solution. All right. And on a test or something like that, guys, we'll ask you the same. We'll ask you to do it the same exact way. We'll ask you which one is not a solution. Got it? So basically, all you're doing is plugging in. Will, are you all set? I like to laugh. That's what I know you're laughing about.
Yeah, you had those things where you just think about it in your mind.
You look at Xander too and you were laughing, so.
Right.
Alright, so we're good. So we're good with this. Alright. So now, do me a favor. Now, some questions on the test may ask you which one is not a solution. We'll give you the choices, figure it out. Also, what we're going to have you guys do this week is we're going to have to graph these inequalities. Right? Similar to how we graph linear equations. Couple differences though. Alright? When we draw our line, depending on what type of sign we have, we may have to draw it a certain way. Alright? Another thing we're going to have to do is, we did stuff yesterday when we graphed, we could just draw our lines, bang, we were done. Right? Didn't matter what kind of line we drew, didn't have to do anything with shading. With the stuff we do today, we're going to have to do that. You're probably saying shading, types of lines, doesn't make any sense. It will when we go over it. Alright? We shade because where we shade, we could pick any number in that region, plug it in, right? Any coordinate in that region, plug it in, and it would work as a solution, all right, for that inequality. That's why we shade, to figure out where our solutions would be. Does that make sense? All right, so think about it now. When we graphed regular old, like, if we were doing a regular, linear equation, like y equals 2x plus 5. How would I graph that? What format do I have to use? Josiah? Okay. Anybody else think they might know? What format do I have to use?
Because it's already in the form, so
What form is that though? Tell me.
slope
Slope.
and intercept
Slope-intercept, which is?
y equals mx plus b.
Same thing is going to be true here. We want to get it in y equals mx plus b. All right? So, guys, go back to the front side of your notes. All right? We already did step 1. All right? Step 1, make sure the equation is in y equals mx plus b. I think everything we do today, right, will be in y equals mx plus b form. We're not going to have to rearrange. We'll do a couple tomorrow where you have to rearrange. All right? So we're going to make sure the equation is in y equals mx plus b.
What is this?
That's me.
It's your wife.
I'm my baby.
We all knew it.
Not yet.
Wait, look, it may be important.
You want me to look?
Yes.
Push.
I'll look.
Is it her?
I hope it actually was.
Is it?
No, not yet. So make sure equation is in y equals mx plus b. Everybody got that down?
Yes.
Coolness. Next. Remember, like we talked about, and you already have this written down, there's going to be no equal sign. All right? There'll be one of the inequality signs. That's the only thing that's different. We're still going to graph the same way. Right? We still want to get it in that format. The only thing that's going to make it different is how we draw our line and how we shade. All right? Next thing we want to do, plot our points. All right? Well, what are we going to graph first? If we're doing slope intercept, what are we going to graph first?
The y.
The y intercept.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So the y-intercept is what we want to graph first. So we'll plot our points, our m and our b, right, on our graph. Again, like I said, everything we do today will be in slope-intercept.
Are we going to have a graph, or are we going to have those things where like we had to put it to the other side, and then when it was less than, it went like this way, and then we had to shade it in?
We want to talk about that. Yes.
Okay. I don't
All right? So we'll plot our points. Remember, what does B stand for again? Mallory, what does B stand for again? Do you remember?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept, right? What does y-intercept mean? Anybody know? Gemini, what does y-intercept mean?
Where the line crosses the y-axis.
When a line crosses the y-axis. So if I'm going to graph the y-intercept, what do? How do I know what the y-intercept is in a particular problem? Josiah?
Because it'll be b.
It'll be B, but how do I know?
Because it's lined up y equals mx plus b.
Okay, Gemini, what are you going to say?
It's not like, because I know you can tell like the slope because it's the number connected to x.
Yeah, it's number connected to x. What about the y-intercept?
There's no.
It has nothing at all, right? Just a plain old number, all right? So our b is, right, it's our y-intercept when we're graphing it, all right? So you got, on your notes, you guys have the b. You have to write in y-intercept. You have written on there when graphing, then you just have to write in start at that number on the y-axis. All right? So whatever number, all right, whatever number is just a number, basically whatever, I guess it sounds weird, but whatever number is just a number. Nothing attached to it, no y, no x. It's the last thing in the problem. You want to graph that number on the y-axis. That's where you're going to stop. All right? And then from there, we'll use our m. M stands for what, Connor? If b is the y-intercept, what's m going to be?
X.
No? Starts with an s.
Slope.
Slope. All right? M is our slope. Like Jeb and I said, to remind ourselves, all right, we know it's the slope because it has the x with it. All right? So when graphing, first thing we want to graph is our y-intercept. From there, all right, we'll go from the y-intercept to, now below, you have where it says when graphing, you're going to put go, you're going to write in go from y-intercept to, underneath it, in between the 2 and the 3, you see a line over here, right? Everybody see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's where you're going to write this part. The rise over the run. Remember, if the number on top is positive, we're going to go up. If the number on top is negative, we'll go down. On the bottom, obviously, we're always going up to the right or down
You
to
want
the
to
right.
write that positive up?
Oh my god.
I mean, guys, for the rise over run, and you guys know Mr. Hager and I, we're pretty fair about this kind of stuff. If you know how to do it, right? If you feel comfortable enough with just writing rise over run, that's perfectly fine. If you want to add in there to know if it's positive, go up, negative, go down, that's fine. Right? But you got to remember, we're always going
That's
up.
what the same.
We're always going up to the right, or always going down to the right. We're never gonna go left. All right? Now, quick question. What if we had this as a slope?
Put it over one.
Then you.
Exactly. Put it over 1.
I know.
Paige, how would I graph that? Tell me the direction I would go.
Down,
Mhm.
2, and
Yep.
to the right one.
Down 2, right 1. Very good. All right. What if I had this? Negative 1/3. How would I graph it? X, you know? How would I
Oh
graph
yeah,
it?
down one
I should put an X with it too. Down 1
to the right 3.
to the right 3. All right? So don't get on, when we start adding other stuff to it, guys, don't panic. All right? Look, graph your y-intercept first, and then go where the slope tells you to go. All right? We've done this a bunch of times this year. Am I okay to go down?
Yeah.
Now, this is a new piece.
What
All
is
right?
this line for?
So we're going to draw our line through the points and shade. But be very careful how you draw your line. All right? Be very careful how you draw your line. So on the front, on the bottom, right, you're going to see a chart that says regular cases. That's the chart we're going to fill in now. All right? Special cases we're going to do a little bit later. All right? But for regular cases, this is how we're going to do it. All right? So I guess the best way to do it would be, I guess, go with this. Give them all 3, right, Mr. Hager?
Sure.
Gonna have to.
Sounds good.
All right. So if you have, what's this sign again, guys?
Less than.
If you have a less than, all right? your line, normally when we draw our line, right, so now we've graphed we've started, right, we found our y-intercept, we've done our whole slope thing, right? The line we draw, because it's less than, there's no line underneath, it's just a less than, we're going to draw a dotted line through our points. Yes, you have to, would be incorrect. That's the rule for this, all right? If we're graphing an inequality, and it has just a regular less than, our boundary line will be dotted. So you're going to hold off on those till after, or?
However you want, but you can
Okay, perfect.
do whatever you do.
Gotcha. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
All right. When we shade, because we have to shade everything. We would shade everything below the line. So I'm looking here, above, below. Below the line would be here. I want to shade everything below the line. When we do an example, it'll make more sense to you guys. All right? So if this is a plain old less than, we want a dotted line, and we're going to shade below. Next, less than or equal to. Notice the difference. Solid this time. We want your line to be solid. Where do you think you're going to shade?
Below.
Below still, right? Because it's less than. All the numbers that are less are going to be below. All right? Next. Greater than.
Above.
Greater than is going to be a dotted line. All right? And you're going to shade exactly like Will just said. Above.
No, you did not. Yeah, you did.
Last one.
Above.
Greater than or equal to.
I think it's above.
Yep. Solid. Above. So does anybody notice a pattern here?
Yeah.
What do you see, Savannah?
When it's greater than, then you go below, you
Yeah.
shade below. When
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
Less than, then it's above.
Yeah, when it's greater than, shade above. When it's less than, shade below. Madison, you see something else?
Yeah, when it's equal to, it's solid, and when
Exactly. When there's a line underneath, like an equal to, you want to shade solid. When there's no line underneath, you want to shade dotted. All right?
Kind of like, if there was, I remember it like maybe if there was a line, like a solid dot.
Okay. So Gemini's going back to when we had to graph them on a number line. We did inequalities. Same kind of thing, right? When we had a less than or equal to, a greater than or equal to, yes, we would fill in our circle or fill in our dot. Same thing here. When it's a when it's a line underneath, make your line solid. All right? When there's no line underneath, make your line dotted. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right? So let's look at an example. So this will be example number 2. All right? So you guys have on the back side, and again, guys, I'll let you know because we still got to fill in special cases. I'll let you guys know when we go back to the front side. All right? So you guys have to write the inequality. If you have the graph, you just have to write the inequality. Okay.
Are you good?
Sound like a dinosaur. All right. So,
Just better off with your big.
Ginny, where am I going to start?
at the 1%.
Which is 3. How do I 3 on which axis? Up and down. That's the y. Okay. So what do I do? 1, 2, 3. Put a dot. Thank you, Ginny.
Yeah, Judy.
Now, Sydney, from that 3, where am I going to go?
You're gonna go
No idea you're going.
to the right 1, 3.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing. You're definitely looking at the correct thing. 1 over 2 is the slope. So we want to use the slope. Once we graph our y-intercept, we'll use our slope.
Oh, when you go up 1 and over 2?
There you go. I'm going to go up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. All right? There it is. Now, so I've plotted my points. All right? So I did this. All right? I did that. Now I'm drawing my line through the points, and I'm going to shade.
Oh,
So what question do I have to ask myself now, Joe?
which inequalities?
What type of line would be
So
okay?
it would be dotted
It would be dotted. Why would it be dotted, Joe?
because it's less than.
Yeah, it's a less than, or another way you can think of it is there's no line underneath.
Oh,
All right?
yeah.
Either way, I don't care how you think of it, Joe. As long as you know that it's dotted, you're good. All right? So Mr. Hager put the dotted line through the points. So that's one part of step 3.
What?
Shading. All
I
right?
have dotted line.
But you literally just.
So, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the top one, right? Because my sign of my problem is less than, right? I did my line, dotted. Where do I shade?
Under it.
Somewhere.
Shade below. So Mr. Hager's going to shade it. And guys, you don't have to be like super, super nasty neat. Like, you can just do it. And Mr. Hager's going to shade it all in nice. So you can do it like that. We don't care how you do it. And again, guys, on the test, Mr. Hager, I don't think they have to graph it. I don't think they have to graph it on their own. I think it's multiple choice. I believe. And we might change, guys. We might change it and make you do one on your make you graph one on your own.
I would rather do it on my own.
I don't. So, guys, I don't care how you do it. I mean, if you just do a quick little like, I want to screw Mr. Hager up though.
Can you write shade under it?
You could do that, I guess. Even if you want to take your pencil and do something like this, that's fine too. Draw lines like this. Or if you want to shade it in, you want to be perfect and shade it all in like that, that's fine too. All right? There's the only wrong way to do it is if you shade in the wrong spot. Other than that, I don't care how you do it, as long as Mr. Hager and I know that, you know, what you're getting at, what region you're
Imagine
shading.
you coloring the whole thing in your first.
All right,
What does that shading mean?
guys, what is so? Mr. Hager is shaded in this whole region. What does that mean, Savannah?
It's the boundary line. Like, no. Shade?
Yeah. So what? Why do we?
Anything
What
like under it is good.
do you mean good?
Like, you can. It works.
Yeah, it works. It will be a solution. I could pick any coordinate in this region, it would work. So I could pick like negative. I could pick like 1, 1. I could pick -2, -6. Any coordinate in this region would work. But it can't. I couldn't pick like this coordinate right here, which is 2. 2, 4. I couldn't pick that because it's on the line. If it's on the line, it doesn't work as a solution.
So you can't go on
If
the line?
if it's dotted, because it's less than. It's on the line, so it wouldn't work. If it's solid, just like when we graphed on a number line before, and we said it was solid, that number could be included. When it's solid, when it's dotted, that won't work. It only works because it could be less than. What will happen here, guys, is it wouldn't work. But if I did one that was on the line, like for a less than or equal to or greater than equal to, what happened would be, both sides would be equal to each other, which is okay. Like, so I think Savannah said it earlier. She goes, either Savannah or Josiah that said it could be either or. It could be greater than, or if the numbers match up, they're equal to each other, that's okay too. All right? That makes sense? Yes? Okay. Let's look at another one.
I'm gonna make your.
We'll go a whole page, probably. How much time? Okay. So, Mr. Trudeau,
So you use by yourself.
you guys want to try this one on your own?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm smart.
This stuff is so extremely easy.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah, guys, try this one on your own.
It's negative 2 over 1.
Try this one on your own for a second. Let's do this. Will, where am I starting?
We're gonna start where you're gonna place the first dot.
Tell me.
So positive 1 that you start at 1.
You almost just knocked my water off.
She's asking me a question. That's a question. I want my pants size.
No.
I'm 38.
Oh, so is my brother.
I could probably get away with 36. He's a little baggy.
I'm a 34.
Okay, what pant size are you? You don't want to share? 34?
Hey, what?
34, 35? No, used to be 36. Never? Alright, so Will, now that we've established, anybody else want to share their pant size?
I
Ash?
How about 32, 32?
32, 32?
I'm size
Well,
5.
34, 34, I don't know how.
You're 34?
I know, why are you all so
Length?
small?
No, wait. He's not
You're 34, 34.
I think Joe was the only
I like it. No, like 30.
No, 34, 32. Yeah, that's what it was. 34.
He's not sure, he's like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, no.
Josiah wants to share.
You guys be quiet. You guys wear leggings. I'm a size 5 in pants.
Good for you. I wish I could fit you.
Yeah, I wish I could fit.
Paige?
That's 0.
I see
0.
36 and
Paige is the
8.
winner. Alright, guys, let's go over this.
In leggings, right?
You all set?
0 last year.
Ax, you good?
That's a size 1.
No, Mr. I'm a 34, 32, I think.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Alright, so Will, can you tell me for this one where I'm gonna start?
You're gonna start on the y-axis.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to place your dot on 1.
Perfect. Y-axis, 1. Very good. From there, my friend Mr. Sharlin. What am I gonna do?
Mr. Yeah.
Down 2, over what direction? Right.
Wait, am I?
Down 2, 1, 2, right 1.
said Xander. There's a Xander behind. Okay, well you gotta make this specific.
Alright, cool. So I put all my dots.
Josiah?
How about Gemini? Gemini, what are we gonna figure out now?
Okay, you have to figure out what line to.
What kind of line? Okay, tell me.
It's a solid.
Oh, there's
Solid. Why is it solid?
Because the line is underneath.
Yeah, because of the line underneath, right? That's what makes it that. Good. Alright. One more thing.
Josiah. Break that.
Josiah.
Yeah, okay, so.
No, it's Sarah.
No.
Oh, yeah, I'm Sarah.
Oh my God,
Sarah, I'm sorry.
Okay, so Sarah thinks that you should outline the rest of the graph, but only like where the line is, and then go, and it kind of makes like an awkward triangle, and then you shaded it
Are you shading above or below?
above,
Above.
because it's the
You
awkward
give
triangle.
that wicked intense like description. Just say above.
Or this-
Well, how did you describe it? As
It's
a
like an awkward triangle because the way the line
okay.
is.
Awkward triangle.
I
Awkward
like that you're the
triangle.
only one that heard that.
No, I actually
No.
So this is just size awkward triangle. Okay, good. All right, so guys, making sense?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do another one. Let's make us finish up.
Did you do this time?
All right.
No, I'm a 36.
Now, listen up.
I'm doing the box now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Guys, do me a favor. Go back to the front side.
I have that.
All right, go back to the front side.
Stop.
Get a little less noise if possible.
I'm sorry.
Joel's over here playing the drums. All right, so
Bring it down.
what do you want? In the inequalities that we've done so far, how many variables have we had in the equation in the inequalities that we've done so far? Right, 2. X and Y. Now in the special cases, what do you think we mean by special case?
It's different from the other
So if the ones we've done so far have had 2 variables,
1. So it's only gonna have 1.
they're only going to have 1.
I just got it.
Either going to have an X or a Y. All right?
Then how do you?
So,
What are you doing?
say if we have a Y only, all right? A Y only, no X, all right? An example would be like y greater than 3, right? You just have a y, you have no x, all right? The line you draw will be horizontal. But this, in terms of the type of line you're going to draw, whether it be dotted or solid, the same rules apply,
Okay.
all right?
We don't have a shade though.
Huh? Doesn't matter, it's the same as what we did for the regular cases.
You're gonna need to specify for vertical.
What, do we need to put
Yes.
shaders in?
Sure.
Yes.
No, we don't.
So for this one, guys, for this one, we're going across, so your line will be like this.
Do you want that shade?
No, because it's the same rules.
So for shade, don't worry about it. Same rules apply, above or below. All right? In terms of the type of line, whether it, I don't care if it's a horizontal or a vertical. All right? The way you draw your line is going to be exactly the same. It's still going to be based on the sign that you have.
Oh, so why is there?
Whether it's a regular case or whether it's a regular case or a special case, the way you draw your line will be the same. All right? Now, if we have an x only with no y, here's an example: x less than or equal to -5. All right? The line we draw will be vertical.
What?
Not everything's about you though.
All right? The line we draw will be vertical.
Oh my god, the notes are finished. No, they're not.
Like this.
One more thing. What the?
Now, here's the deal. If it's
Excuse me, Noah, I'm gonna need you to move.
I get to sit and play Pokemon all history class, but
that's going to be,
Oh
that's
my God,
that's
no,
less than,
I
that's will be left. Left,
You're this
right?
extremely big.
Wait, I thought it was the same. Why are you writing in?
Well, here's the thing, Josiah. I can't shade above or below there. Look at the line.
Oh.
It's vertical. So it's this one, when it's an X only, this one kind of breaks the rule.
Okay.
All right? If it's a less than or a less than or equal to, when you look at your line, you would shade to the left.
nice.
All right? You would shade to the left. Now, if it's greater than or equal to, where are we going to shade?
Right.
Right.
Nice.
The left. Okay, I got it down.
All right? That makes sense?
You basically go the way it points.
Oh my gosh, true. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I understand now.
Makes
That
sense?
makes it simpler.
All right? But guys, the same. We've done special cases like this before when we graphed linear equations. All right? Basically, it works like this. Jack, listen, please. Will, listen, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Graph this number, 3, on this axis, the y-axis, all right, and draw your line opposite of the axis. If I drew my line up and down going through 3 of the y-axis, you wouldn't see it. All right? For this one, graph -5 on the x-axis, all right, and draw my line opposite of the axis. That's how it works. We've done things like this before. All right? So these are your special cases. So here's one. So for these guys, there's less steps. We only have to graph one point. We're done.
Yeah.
That's it. All right? So how would I graph this?
You just put a dot on the sheet on the y-axis.
Good. Like Joe just said, put a dot on 2 on the y-axis. Here's 2 on the y-axis.
Excuse me, Joe.
Savannah?
So since it's a y, it's only y, it's gonna be horizontal.
Exactly. Well, I always think of it as, if I drew my line going vertically, it would just go through that, you wouldn't really see it. Right? That's why I always say, graph this number on this axis, 2 on the y-axis, which we did. And now we're drawing our line opposite of the axis. All right? No? Because, again, is there, Will, Is there a number with X there?
No.
No. There's no. We might get a problem where we have an X, but nothing attached to it. There's no number here attached to the X. So what does that mean?
Mr. Hager, what are you doing?
There's no number with an X attached. So what does that mean?
There's no slope.
Good, Mallory. There is no slope. There's no number with an X attached. That means there's no slope. Got it?
Yeah.
Everybody got it? Okay.
So, wait, does a common texture matter, like, if
It's
like,
solid.
look at the, what line you have?
Again, and this will be a solid line. Why is that, Will?
Because the greater than equal to sign is going to the left.
Exactly. Or also, there's a line underneath.
Yeah, that too.
There's a line underneath. That's the easiest way to figure it out. Now you're gonna draw a solid line. Questions on this?
No.
Remember, special case. This number on this axis, draw the line opposite of the axis. People got it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another one.
We didn't finish.
Wait, we didn't shade.
Oh shoot, man, shade, my goodness.
Oh, we have to shade on top.
Yeah, my bad. And Joe just said shade above. Why above, Joe?
Because it's greater than.
It's a greater than. And again, same rules apply there because we still have an above and a below. All right? Good with that.
Yep.
Next.
That's the
Smiley
same
face.
Oh, we missed one. Oh, sorry. All right, now this one. How about
Is it that cute?
Sydney? How do I do this? I got X is less than 3.
You mark 3 on the x-axis.
3 on the x-axis. Is that going to be on the right or on the left, Sydney?
You're right.
How many? How many to the right?
Over 3.
Oh, wait, then would you say? Excuse me, ma'am.
Wait, for this, would the line be up and down?
And like Joe just said, it's going to be a vertical. All right?
Wait, is it shaded or not?
Below.
You guys tell me.
I don't think so.
Yes,
Yeah, there's no shade.
What do you think? What do you think, Gemini? It's okay to look at your notes. I'm not cheating.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I am cheating.
I said it's okay to look at your
It's
notes.
shaded.
That's what we took them for.
It's not shaded because.
Again, it's not going to be shaded.
It's
Why?
not because there's no underline thing.
Good.
You know what?
There's no line underneath.
Yes,
We're not
I did
shading
write
it.
it down, but I remember it from memory.
Hey,
No,
where
no
was
line,
the shade?
no line underneath, dotted. All right, line underneath, solid.
Just on
Now, go back, again, this is a tricky one, right? If we wrote down in our notes, right, where are we gonna shade, Mallory?
Wherever the arrow's pointing, like the, sorry.
Oh, I like that too, I like that too. That's another way to think of it. We didn't talk about it like that.
We did.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I did.
You write it on there?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
All right,
Joe.
Joe, you little.
so like, wherever the arrow, I know you say that, Mr. Hager. Wherever the arrow is pointing, when you have an X only, wherever the arrow is pointing is where you're going to shade. Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Are we done with notes?
That's it for notes.
Please,
Oh,
please talk to
Oh, guys,
Can we
look.
please talk?
If you give us another page, I'm not going to be very happy.
Mr. Hager.
You know what?
Hey, everybody. You want to hear
All
something?
right. So guys,
You want to hear something that ruins your day?
well, listen. Homework. All right. Homework is 5.6 worksheet. Listen to me. There's only six problems. I want you to do one before you leave. Show me that you've done one. I'm happy. All right.
Today's anniversary.
Listen. We have a review. Tomorrow's the last day of new stuff this week. All right. Tomorrow's the last day of new stuff. So, reference sheet. First half of class on Thursday. We're gonna give you guys. Stop. We're gonna give you guys time in class to work on your reference sheet.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So there'll be no warm up on Thursday. The whole first half of class is we're gonna give you the examples to look up in your notes to make your reference sheet. After that, we'll put problems up. You can practice finding examples that are like it on your reference sheet. All right. There will be homework on Thursday though. All right.
It's going.
Oh my God.
First, guys, listen, guys. First test of fourth quarter on Friday. So if you're not happy with your grade from third quarter, you want to go off to a good start. All right. You might want to do well on that test.
No, it's not.
Guys, if everything stays according to plan, I will be after school on Thursday. Alright? So if everyone needs to stay to review, I will be here. There is no after school tomorrow. Superintendent's dinner. No one stays. Go home. Got it?
Can we start?